Namaste. I, JVN Smritika Satwal, Assistant Professor in Jyoti Vidyarthi, Women's University, Faculty of Pharmaceutical Sciences, is here to deliver the lecture on Pharmaceutical Quality Assurance, which is the subject under B.pharm 6th semester. And in this, we are going to study the topic quality control, which is in the unit 3rd. Now, we are continuing this previous lecture. First, we will discuss about packaging design and specification. So, now, packaging design and specification. Quality control of a packaging component starts at the design stage. All aspects of a pack development that may give rise to quality problems must be identified and minimized by good design. In packaging design, component shape and dimension is the proper subject. In this, standardization or standardizing both component shape and size should be the policy. There are many components that can be standardized, such as ampoules, vials, cartons, labels, and leaflets. Rubber plugs and plastic bottles can be standardized with respect to shape and size, varying only in the material of construction. There will be a variety of sizes of components depending on the dosage, but again, the same shape could be used but with different dimensions. Packaging validation trials in this, when the components have been identified for a particular product, the validation of packaging operation is required. This is to ensure that a consistent pack quality is obtained at the required packaging rate. Material of construction, the materials are required careful consideration, particularly when the product is in contact with the container. It is necessary to ensure that the product does not deteriorate or does not become contaminated as a result of being in contact with the container, or that the product does not affect the integrity of the pack. Now, what are the components of product validation? Once a formulation has been agreed, the pharmaceutical company has to perform compatibility studies between the product and container to ensure the product degradation does not occur during the product market life. The container has to be capable of protecting the product from environment. Now, in sterile product validation, product and pack compatibility, the components must be washed and sterilized through a validated procedure. The vials must be filled with the sterile product under sterile conditions and terminally sterilized if this is a part of the intended product operation. Components performed should be monitored during the compatibility trials to ensure that deterioration has not occurred. In seal integrity, the seals of each vial should be examined before the experiment to ensure that there are no defectives, and then each vial should be inserted into a tray containing the challenge bacteria. The samples should be cycled through temperature and pressure changes expected on the market for several weeks. Careful cleaning of the vials and examination of content for sterility will become the seal quality. Now, in non-sterile product validation, water vapor permeability test is the main. The water vapor permeability of the pack containing the product is required. This is necessary because although the bottles will comply With the water vapor permeability test described in USP, permeation through the bottle wall will depend on whether the product has a high or low affinity for the water. The test split into two parts to enable the maximum amount of information to be obtained and hence assessed and hence possibly eliminating the necessity to perform further time-consuming experiments. The bottle wall permeation and bottle cap permeation are the two tests that should be performed. In light transmission test, the test is to determine the effect of light passing through the bottle wall on the product stability and appearance. The bottle wall thickness can have a significant effect on the result obtained. Now, the other test is product stability. It is unlikely that a compatibility problem, particularly with the film coated tablet, will occur, although it is necessary to check up full life of the product. There is possibility that either the smell or taste of tablet will be affected. So that should be known by the product stability test. Now, what are the component specifications for this test? Every detail concerning a component significant or specification must be communicated to and agreed upon with the manufacturer, including packaging, transportation, and labeling requirements. If any of the details are missing, confusion or mistake may occur. The main specification requirements are the components, drawing, artwork, that is printed components only, and the quality control testing and standards. Quality control testing and standards, there are of two types of or classes of components. The first one is primary, in which in contact with the product, for example, ampoules, vials, plastic bottles, polymer coated foils. These are in direct contact with the product. And the secondary one, in which they are not in the contact with the product, that are cartons, labels, leaflets. They are called as secondary, and the first one is called as primary. This is primary packaging and secondary packaging that are done in pharmaceutical industry. The critical parameters are for setting standards are, the first one is appearance, how it will appear, and the second one is dimensions, that what are its dimensions, and the third one is compatibility and customer usability. The customer is using it in a frequent basis or not, and it is compatible with other things or not. And the last one is chemical testing. These are the critical parameters setting standards. Now, the first one is appearance. This can split into three categories. The first category is critical. In this, unacceptable at any level, where, for example, rug printing items in a delivery, incorrect printing of data such as the product name or concentration, and insects in the bottle, etc. are came under in critical category. The second category is major. In this, acceptable at a low level. The standard is decided by the pharmaceutical company. For example, defects are missing print, making read text difficult, flashing on molded components, and other defects are come under major category. The third category is minor, in which this is acceptable at a higher level than the major appearance defects. These will detract from perform or perfection and included marked components, slight color variation, slight smudging, etc. come under minor category. Now, in dimension, the dimension of a component can be separated into two types, in which the first one is critical, that requires close control to ensure that the component function correctly and can be used satisfactorily by packaging equipment. Non-critical, necessary to maintain the component shape but not requiring close control for satisfactory function of the component. The critical dimensions for each of these components are as follows, in which vial have flange depth, flange diameter, bore diameter, vial height, body diameter, wall thickness, base thickness, concentrically, and verticality. And in rubber plugs, flange depth, flange diameter, and plug diameter is there. And in aluminum overseal, internal third depth, external diameter, and aluminum thickness is there. Now, compatibility and customer usability in this involves checking that each component forming the pack fits together and functions correctly. For example, eyedropper pack, in this the nozzle must have a good interference fit into the bottle and allow one drop at a time delivered through the hole in the nozzle when inverted, but must not leak from the fitted position. The cap must screw into position and leakage must not occur when the bottle is squeezed into the inverted position. A sterile seal is maintained. And in chemical testing, the majority of chemical testing is required on primary components. The type of testing required depends on the type of components used in it. First one is glass vial and ampoules. The USP 14 requirements for glass containers are chemical resistance and light transmission. The requirements vary from country to country, but basically testing determines whether the correct type of glass has been used for the manufacture and its suitability for use with pharmaceutical products. Plastic primary components, the testing is more expensive with plastic components, requiring both biological and physicochemical tests. This is because plastic components contain other substances such as plasticizer, stabilizer, antioxidants, pigments, lubricants, and possibly residues from polymerization. Therefore, for components that are in direct with the product, this testing is required to ensure that the product is not affected during its life or shelf life. In pharmaceutical packaging, the quality control of components in pharmaceutical premises starts at the receiving stage. Once the components are considered acceptable by the packaging material laboratory, the control of component quality must be maintained through each stage of handling and use. That is from the component storage and preparation to the filling, packaging and dispatch of the product. In packaging area, the packaging operation can involve many complex operations, all of which require careful control if product quality and security are to be maintained. The packaging operation means either the filling and packaging of non-sterile products or the packaging stage of filled sterile products. In area standards, depending on the type of product and packaging operation, the standard requirement of the packaging area will vary, although there are several basic standards required. Each packaging line should be in separate rooms. There should be covered floors and ceiling for easy cleaning. The packaging operation should wear non-fiber shedding overalls that have a tight fit around the neck and sleeves. There should be no external pockets above waist height. The filling part of the packaging operation should be enclosed and supplied with filtered air. Basic percolation or basic precaution prior to filling can be operated, such as blowing the container with filtered air immediately before filling. Washing of containers should not be necessary provided that the correct production and operation standards are in use in the supplier premises. Packaging instruction in packaging specification, the following details must be included in the specification, in which the first thing is the product name, strength, and reference code to be packaged, the pack size and number of product items to be included in each pack, that is the number of tablets, ampules, vials, etc. came under it. After that, a description and reference of each packaging item to be included in the pack. Special precautions to be taken during the operation. For example, the packaging of the moisture-sensitive tablets may need to be performed under low humidity conditions. This special precaution and instruction are said to be in it. Details the in-process control system to be operated. This will vary depending on the complexity of the packaging operation. In specific batch details, the line supervisor will need to know the batch numbers and expiry dates for each batch to be packaged. This is to ensure that the correct batches are packaged for a specific customer with the correct expiry date printed on the packs. In customer requirements, the customer order may not be or may be to be packed all the product in each of the batches allocated or in an exact number of packs. The quantities of components required for each batch to be packaged need to be stated. This quantity must include overages based on expected wastage due to line setup, breakdowns, and in-process checks. Okay, now this is all for this lecture. If you have any queries regarding this lecture, please let me know. And please make sure to write down some short notes about this topic. And if you have any other information, then please let me know about this lecture. So thank you so much.